Hello there, welcome to the Perfume Experience. Welcome back to another house series, and today I'm going to talk to you about a fragrance house that has been requested a lot. In fact, I would say that this is one of those houses that was requested to me from almost a year back, saying that you should review this particular house, and I'm talking about a fragrance house from India called as Follow Me Perfumes. Okay, now Follow Me is a quite popular name in the Instagram world and from a lot of alternate houses in India, and I finally decided to pull the trigger. So I did get two sets of fragrance. So first I got one box of fragrance. These are all basically 10 ml vials that you kind of get this way. So I did get one set first, and then I eventually got another set as well. So I got basically about 10 fragrances roughly. I would say 3, 6, 10, 11 fragrances approximately, so to say, to try them, test them, and they've been with me for approximately more than a month now. So I kind of have a good understanding of how the fragrances smell and how they perform, right? So let's talk about a few things. First of all, they have they have a regular, they have a premium, and they have a niche offering. So the prices accordingly change, and I think they do have more than 200 plus to 400, I think, number of varieties of fragrances that they have. So they have a very long list of fragrances that you can get from them. In fact, I'll put DM the number of contacts for you to get in touch. So I in fact originally contacted them somewhere last year once to try and get a few fragrances. Then I decided to put it under the carpet, and like I said, recently I did get two sets of fragrances, right? So the first set of fragrance that I did get from them were basically a few fragrances that I was looking to get something on the lines of floral fragrances for men, but then I also wanted to include something that can be day wear kind of thing, right? So I got Lacoste L12.12, then I got Dior Fahrenheit, then I got Allure Home Sport, and I got Dior Oud Rosewood and Versace Dreamer. Now, one of the things that I have to say is, when I first got this first set of fragrances, they do give you a couple of athers as well. I think one attar vial that you get like this, like a very tiny one along with each bottle. Now, one of the first fragrances that I tried, I think, was the Versace Dreamer and Lacoste. And in the first time when I got it, like immediately after the first time I got it, maybe after a couple of days, I did not really enjoy the fragrances because I felt they were not performing. They were very skin close is what I felt. Okay, so in the original first few days, I never really got any of these fragrances very nicely as such. And these are all from the premium or regular series as such, not from the niche. Now, from the niche at that point of time, I did get only one, which was, I think, Dior Rosewood, and this was fantastic. Like, this was projecting like for hours together, lasting on your skin for really long, intense, and it was superb. And it is one of the nicest fragrances that they have, which is Dior Oud Rosewood. Now, I also think that they do use natural oud to some extent to give you that real oud type of a vibe, and that is what I think makes one of their fragrances, especially the niche ones, pretty premium, pretty expensive, but you do get a very good lasting and good projection. Now, after this episode where I tried and I liked this particular fragrance, then I decided to go with some of their more popular ones. Okay, so in the second set of fragrances, I did get, like, for example, Man in Black, which is very popular from them, Bulgaris Man in Black. I did get Prada Luna Rosa Carbon. Okay, so that is another one that I tried. I did get YSL Y as well. And of course their Interlude, which is very popular and highly recommended by a lot of people, so I did get that. Then of course I did get PDM Herod. Okay, so this is Parfums de Marly Herod. And then of course I did get I was sent Blue Oud because one of the fragrances that I did order, they did not have it in stock, so they kind of replaced it with Blue Oud, which is an alternate of Ibrahim Al Qureshi's Blue Oud. Okay, so if you look at fragrances that I did get, I got a mix of both. So some of them are niche ones, which are the more expensive one, and the ones in oud, dark ones as such, which is your basically Blue Oud, Dior Oud Rosewood, and then Interlude, and then of course Man in Black. Okay, and then of course the other fragrances are more towards the fresh premium category. Now, like I said, I've been having them for a month, so for about 2 or 3 weeks I haven't touched them, and when I got back last week and when I started trying them again, so one of the changes that I found was that the fresh fragrances that which I told you initially were not really performing that very well, they had taken a full U-turn and they were blooming out like crazy. So I did try YSL Y, I did try Dreamer, Versace Dreamer, Prada Luma, Rosa Carbon, and then of course Lacoste White as well, and Allure Homme Sport. Okay, so these ones really performs really well now, especially if you wear it on your daytime wear and you are looking for a fresh fragrance. They would actually work very well. You get good 5-6 hours of performance on skin and on apparel as well, and they perform in terms of projection also. They do about 2 feet plus, okay, which is really nice, and they project for long as well. So good 1.5 hour you can absolutely feel the fragrances. In fact, I did get compliments from a few people for wearing these fragrances, and I did not think they were projecting that loud. In fact, I would say they were sitting more than 4 feet away and they were still able to smell this particular fragrance. So that was something very nice, and that was coming basically from Prada's Luna Rosa Carbon. Okay, so this was working really well, and of course Versace Dreamer as well. So fresh fragrances, of course, like most of the Indian houses, you do need to give them time to macerate, because that's where I think they perform better, and I think over a period of maceration they start giving out better vibes. Now in the initial out of the box, I was really not getting anything at all. In fact, I was feeling they were duds as such, but fast forward 2 to 3 weeks time, they were just sitting here and they have been doing fantastic. So the fresh fragrances are a good tick, in terms of getting your collection. So I would highly recommend you to get Prada Luna Rosa Carbon, YSL Y, and of course Allure Homme Sport. These are definitely good fragrances. Now coming to the second part of the series, which is basically their niche fragrances, which is PDM, Perfumes de Marly Herod, or let's say Fahrenheit, which is also a very good one. Then of course Blue Oud or Dior Oud Rosewood. Then of course Interlude and so Ibrahim Al Qureshi's Blue Oud. Okay, now these fragrances, like I said, I do think they do put in real oud in this, so some amount of oud is there. So these fragrances, crazy performance on these ones. You put them on, it projects for 3 hours plus, in some cases 2 hours to 3 hours plus, and lasting goes 7, 8 hours, 9 hours. Even next day on your apparel you will be able to smell. In fact, the day after that also you will be able to smell. So that is something that surprised me a lot by these 10 ml vials. They come in plastic vials, of course, not in glass vials, but still they do perform really well, and they go for a long wear. Now I would say that you should try putting them on apparel for best performance, because on skin I think it is a little better to actually use it on apparel. That's my thought about the fragrances in terms of lasting. Okay, now now obviously the question would come, do you recommend this particular house? I would highly recommend this house for you to try fragrances, especially if you're looking for dark fragrances with oud, or something that you want to wear for evening wear or something for day wear. Yes, you can get a lot of these fragrances from this house. Pretty good value for money is something that you might want to check, because the price to 50 ml ratio is, I think 50 mls are about 1600, 1800, 1300, that kind of a ball figure. So maybe slightly a little bit more than the other houses that you would see in this particular bracket. But yes, they are definitely good in terms of lasting and performance. Now, what is a con or area that I think that can get better is when you compare these fragrances to existing houses, like your top houses that we've been talking about in this particular channel, then I feel there is a slight difference, because what happens is a couple of the houses that we have, they have a little bit of more designer like feel. When you spray the fragrances, it's more light, more airy. That part I feel is slightly missing, especially in the niche fragrances, because they are more concentration heavy and they are more darker, denser. So all of the the oud ones that I have had, PDM Herod, let's say for example Oud Rosewood, Blue Oud, and Interlude, and all of them, they are dense, they are heavy in terms of their profile. So they kind of don't have that frail airy thing that you get in some of the other Indian houses that we get. But aside to that, that's the only thing that I feel is the flaw or the con side of this particular thing, which is okay to deal with, because at that particular price point you do get a good range of performance, especially if you're looking at long performance like 8 hours, 9 hours, and then yes, these fragrances do really perform pretty well. I did try one of the oils that was given to me as a sample. I just tried that, and that also rocks pretty hard. It performs really well. But aside, yes, it's definitely a good house when you consider a lot of the fragrances that you have from them, right? So yes, I did like that this particular house, and I think they're a good house to try, especially if you're looking at Indian hauled houses that you want to get at a good price point, at a good budget, not extremely expensive, no fancy presentation. And I haven't got any of the 50 mls or any other volume. I have basically got 10 mls to try and test these for you, and I am pretty happy with what I've got. So these the niche ones, they perform right out of the box. The moment you put them on, you get fantastic performance, of course. But with the fresh fragrances, like I mentioned, you need to give it a little bit of a time for them to macerate, and then of course they do perform pretty well. And yes, how close are they to the OG? Yes, like if you think about the Ibrahim Al Qureshi's Blue Wood, or if you think about YSL Y as such, they are pretty close to the OG. So I would say in the ballpark figure about 85 to 90% is what I would say. They are close in terms of the accuracy to the original. So that way they are pretty good as well. So yes, you can consider them in probably around top 3 to top 5, top 6 in that kind of a category of fragrances, which I think is still a good job compared to a lot of the junk brands that you get across on Instagram, which are really nothing but selling, low quality juice and low quality fragrances. That is not the case, at least with this house. That is something that I'm very happy to tell you, that the quality of the fragrances that you get, the juice quality that they are used, the ingredients that they are using in those 3 different categories of regular, premium and niche are really something worthwhile getting. So yes, you can definitely check them out. I'll put in the number in the description. You can get in touch with them and get the price point and try them out. And if you want me to try out some other Indian houses, do let me know in the comments and be happy to touch that. All right, so I'll see you in another video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.